Hi, scholars. Welcome back to Read Aloud. Today we're going to read part 9 of The One and Only Ivan. I know we've read so many pages already, and we have met some new characters, and we are thinking about the things that Ivan is doing, how he's feeling, and how we are evaluating our understanding of that. For today's activity, we are going to do the big idea and text evidence together, and then you're going to answer a focus question using all parts of race. Remember, when you're responding to a question that requires you to answer race, you need to make sure that your paper is set up just like Miss McKinney's. I wrote the word race down here at the bottom. Feel free to write it at the top of your paper if you would like, and put boxes underneath them. That way you can check off each one as you answer your question using all parts of race. So, our big idea for today is Stella's foot is getting even worse, but Mac can't afford a vet to take care of her. So, we're going to find some text evidence to support this big idea. For your focus question today using race, you're going to answer why are Mac and George painting Ruby's picture on the billboard? I think we can already take an educated guess or a hypothesis that you learned with Mr. G about why they're painting Ruby's picture on the billboard and taking Ivan's down. But we're going to focus in the video on the big idea and text evidence, and then on your own, you're going to answer that focus question. Go ahead and open your PDF file to page 82, and we're going to continue to read. Stella and Ruby. All morning, Stella strokes Ruby, pats her, smells her. They flap their ears, they rumble and roar. They sway as if they're dancing. Ruby clings to Stella's tail. She slipped under Stella's belly. Sometimes they just lean into each other. Their trunks twirl together like jungle vines. Stella looks happy. It's more fun to watch them than any nature show I've seen on TV. As you can see in the picture, they have their trunks entwined. This is how Stella was able to get Ruby off the back of the truck. And this is how Ruby is feeling safe with Stella. George and Mac are out by the highway. I can see them through one of my windows. They are next to each other on tall wooden ladders, leaning against the billboard that tells the cars to stop and visit the one and only Ivan, mighty silverback. George has a bucket and a long-handled broom. Mac has pieces of paper. He slaps one against the billboard. George dips the broom into the bucket and he wets the paper with the liquid from the bucket, and somehow the paper stays in place. They put up many pieces before they're done. When they climb down from the ladders, I see that they have added a picture of a little elephant to the billboard. The elephant has a lopsided smile. She is wearing a red hat, and her tail curls like a pig's. She doesn't look like Ruby. She doesn't even look like an elephant. I've only known Ruby one day, and I could have drawn better. Ruby asks lots of questions, she says. Ivan, why is your tummy so big? And have you ever seen a green giraffe? Can you give me one of those pink clouds that the humans are eating? When Ruby asks, what is on your wall? I explain that's a jungle. She says the flowers have no scent and the waterfall has no water and the trees have no roots. I am aware of that, I say. It's art, a picture made with paint. Do you know how to make art? Ruby asks. Yes, I do, I say, and I puff my chest up just a little. I've always been an artist and I love drawing. Why do you love it? Ruby asked. I pause. I never talked to anyone about this before. When I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. Ruby frowns. Quiet is boring. Not always. Ruby scratches the back of her neck with her trunk. What do you draw anyway? Bananas mostly. Things in my domain. My drawings sell at the gift store for $25 a piece with a frame. What's a frame? Ruby asks. What's $1? What's a gift store? I close my eyes. I'm a little sleepy, Ruby. Have you ever driven a truck? Ruby asks. I don't answer. Ivan, Ruby asks, can Bob fly? A memory flashes past, surprising me. I think of my father snoring peacefully under the sun while I try every trick I know to wake him. Perhaps I realize I really wasn't such a sound sleeper after all. Treat. How's that foot, old girl? George asked Stella. Stella pokes her trunk between the bars. She inspects George's right shirt pocket for the treat he brings her every night without fail. George doesn't always bring me treats. Stella's his favorite, but I don't mind. She's my favorite too. Stella sees that George's pocket is empty. She gives George a frustrated nudge with her trunk, and Julia giggles. Stella moves to George's left pocket and discovers a carrot. Nimbly, she removes it. Mac walked past. Toilets plugged up in the men's bathroom, he says. Big mess. I'll take care of it, George sighs. Mac turns to leave. Before you go, Mac, George says, you might want to take a look at Stella's foot. I think it's infected again. Darn thing never heals up right. Mac rubs his eyes. I'll keep an eye on it. Money's tight, though. Can't be calling the vet every time she sneezes. George strokes Stella's trunk. He inspects his pockets one more time, just in case. Sorry, girl, George says as he watches Mac walks away. I found my piece of evidence that matches the big idea here. Stella's foot is getting worse, but Mac can afford a vet to take care of her. I found two pieces of evidence on page 89, so I'm going to make sure that I write page 89 and my quotation marks. You might want to take a look at Stella's foot. Make sure you're writing as I'm writing. You might want to take a look at Stella's foot. I think it's infected again. That's my one piece of evidence, and I have my quotation marks. Now I found another piece of evidence also on page 89. So I'm going to write page 89 and my quotation marks. I'll keep an eye on it. This is what Mac said. Money's tight. Can't be calling the vet. Every time she sneezes. These two pieces of evidence support the big idea about Stella's foot being hurt and the fact that Matt can afford to take her to the vet because money is tight. And we already know that money is tight because no one's coming to the big top mall. All right, let's keep reading. Ivan, Bob. I blink. The dawn sky is a smudge of gray flecked with pink, like a picture drawn with two crayons. I can't just make out Ruby in the shadows, waving hello with her trunk. Are you awake? Ruby asks. We are now, says Bob. Aunt Stella's still asleep, and I don't want to wake her, 'cause she said her foot was hurting, but I'm really, Ruby pauses for breath, really bored. Bob opens one eye. You know what I do when I'm bored? What? Ruby asks eagerly. Bob closes his eye. I sleep. It's just a little early, Ruby, I say. I'm used to getting up early. Ruby wraps her trunk around one of the bars of her door. At my old circus, we always got up when it was still dark, and we had breakfast, and we walked in a circle, and then they chained my feet up, and that really hurt. Ruby falls silent. Instantly, Bob is snoring. Ivan, Ruby asks, do you know any jokes? I especially like jokes about the elephants. Well, let's see. I heard Mac tell one once. I yawn. How can you tell that an elephant has been in a refrigerator? How? By the footprints in the butter. Ruby doesn't react. I sit up on my elbows, trying not to disturb Bob. Get it? What's a refrigerator? Asks Ruby. It's a human thing, a cold box with a door. They put food inside. They put food in the door or food in the box? And is it a big box, a little box? Ruby asks, or a little box? I can see this is going to take a while, so I sit up all the way. Bob slides off, grumbling. I reach for my pencil, the one that snapped in half with my teeth. Here, I say, I'll draw a picture of one. In the dim light, it takes me a minute to find a piece of paper Julia gave me. The page is a little damp and has a smear of something orange on it. I think it's from a tangerine. I try my best to make a refrigerator. The broken pencil is not cooperating, but I do what I can. By the time I'm done, the first streaks of the morning sun have appeared in a flashy cartoon color. I hold up my picture for Ruby to see. She studies intently, her head turned so that one black eye is trained on my drawing. Wow. You made that? Is it the thing you were telling me about before? Art? You can see the picture here of Ruby sitting here looking at Ivan's drawing through the bars. Sure it is. I can draw all kinds of things, I'm especially good at fruit. Could you draw a banana right now, Ruby asked. Absolutely. I turn the paper over and sketch. Wow, Ruby says again in an awed voice when I hold up the page. It looks good enough to eat. She makes a happily lilting sound, an elephant laugh. It's like the song of a bird I recall from long ago, a tiny yellow bird with a voice like dancing water. Strange, I'd forgotten all about that bird, how she'd wake me every morning at dawn when she still curled safely in my mother's nest. It's a good feeling making Ruby laugh, so I draw another picture and another. Along the edges of the paper, an orange, a candy bar, and a carrot. Hmm, this moment between Ivy and Ruby is very important. When Ruby laughs, Ivan thinks about the bird that he recalls long ago that was singing a song. And then he thinks, strange, he'd forgotten about that bird. We already know that Ivan has some trouble about remembering things in his past. And it seems like spending time with Ruby is making him remember some of the things that he had long forgotten. What are you up to? Stella asks, moaning as she tries to move her sore foot. How are you this morning? I asked. Just feeling my age, Stella says. I'm fine. Ivan is making me pictures, Ruby said. And he told me a joke. I really like Ivan, Aunt Stella. Stella winks at me. Me too. She says, Ivan, want to hear my favorite joke? Ruby asks. I heard it from Maggie. She was one of the giraffes at my old circus. Sure, I say. It goes like this. Ruby clears her throat. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Trunks, I think. But I don't answer because I don't want to ruin Ruby's fun. I don't know, Ruby. I asked. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Baby elephants, Ruby says. A good one, Ruby. I say, watching Stella stroke Ruby's back with her trunk. Good one, Stella says softly. Now you need to go back. We've already passed the part where you need to find your text evidence for our focus question. So you need to go back and read the chapter again, or as we were reading the chapter, you can answer your focus question. And your focus question is, why are Mac and George painting Ruby's picture on the billboard? And I think we can use the evidence that we already know as to why they're putting Ruby's picture up on the billboard. Then you need to make sure that you use all parts of race. You need to restate, answer the question, cite text evidence, and explain your thinking. I can't wait to see your work. Go.